Zolack, former quarterback in the NFL, does the color analysis on the Patriot radio broadcast, hosts a radio show. He's Mr. Boston, Mr. Patriots. Scott Zolack, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm dreaming of your whole franchise crumbling down, and then maybe the Jets can win an AFC East. That's what I'm dreaming about. And you know what Giant fans are dreaming about, Zoe? They're dreaming about taking your head coach.
Yeah, at the age that he's at, starting all over again from scratch with a broken down. Nah, I take that back. I still think Eli's got football in him. I really do. I just think that, you get the right coach with him, and, you go back to the offense he's comfortable with, you can still get something out of him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's done with Eli.
I think he could still play. I think right now, though, when you have the number 2 overall pick and you're the Giants, it's like a lottery ticket, and finding franchise quarterbacks is not easy. So I still think they're going to take a franchise quarterback, and that could be the end of Eli. He may not want to be here with that.
Well, when's the last time Giants had the number 2 overall pick? That
Lawrence Taylor. That was the last time.
Yeah, exactly. And that guy ends up breaking ties with Blake, so those things don't come around that too often. So when you're sitting there with number 2, you got to take that kid.
What did you make of the ESPN article, the bombshell? What'd you make of it?
Well, I'm pretty tight with all 3 people, and I'm kind of like the flux capacitor. I'm caught in the middle. You got that triangle, and there's some truth to it, and there's a lot of fallacies to what the Patriots statement that they released yesterday, and nobody's walking around calling Tom Brady sir. Tom Brady didn't hang out Chris Hogan because he's worried about getting hit now. This guy gets beaten all year. He extends plays now this late in his career. Go back, and I put that tweet out yesterday. People say, yeah, somebody's wide open deep. But somebody on the inside wants to hurt Tom Brady with his feet. So they're talking to somebody. I don't know who. He said he talked to dozens, which is pretty amazing because nobody talks there.
Right.
That's first and foremost. Nobody. I mean, I do a lot of TV and radio stuff with Bill, and it's tough getting stuff out of him, and he's great with me. And I had him as a coach, and, you don't talk. Bottom line, what you see here, what you do, what you hear here stays here. That's a sign when you leave the building. So I kind of chuckle at some of it, but there is some truth to it. I mean, it's egos, right?
Yeah.
And everything has shelf life. 20 years they've been doing this. 20 years. I mean, Brady wins next week. He's going to his 13th or 14th AFC championship game. Like, I've been doing a broadcast for 6 years now. This will be my 6th straight AFC championship game if we go. And we don't know anything else. But, I mean, it's like any business, any success that you have with anything. Now look at you guys down there at the Fan. Perfect example. Look at Francesa Mad Dog, man. I mean, come on.
I think that's a great example. I was thinking about that yesterday, too. 2 egos, they did a great job.
They killed us on it. They could have done a 3-hour 30 for 30 on that.
It's true. It is true.
I mean, we're up here in the snow. We're replaying Mike with his snowblower. I got the snowblower, and I'm gonna go down there. I could do the snowblower real well.
So
everybody wants to take down the big guy. That's what you know.
But the Mike and Chris comparison ended with them splitting up, and I think both of them being successful. Is that what happens here? I mean, do you see a split here between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick?
I think the Dog and Francesa comparison is more of Parcells Belichick type, to where they went away from each other. It wasn't amicable, and now all of a sudden they're in the same condo down in Jupiter, Florida. To where they're friends again.
Right.
I just think this one is they've done a really good job, regardless of what drama. Whether you go back to Spygate, we did Deflategate 3 years ago, and it's almost like this finish of the season has been somewhat boring. It's weird to say that at 13-3. You close it out with the Jets in Buffalo. Buffalo squeaks in the playoffs, and we're glad they're in. I mean, my God, they win this week, and we got them next week, divisional round.
How easy is that?
Yeah, but I mean, like this drama, it hypes things. It feels like Super Bowl week 3 years ago out in Arizona again, and they're so good at circling the wagons and using that to motivate them.
We're talking to Scott Zolack. How much of the Alex Guerrero stuff has really caused a split in the organization? Because that was a big part of the article about the TB12 method and kind of the Patriot trainers versus TB12. Your thoughts on all that stuff?
The quarterback looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
For whatever makes that guy's you-know-what tick. Like, why screw with that mojo? The problem is, I think there's a boundary inside. And when you're in an NFL locker room, it's cutthroat business, man. You're hiring doctors, very good doctors. It's pretty much chief of staff here across the board. And you bring out an outside the world medicine man type thing into your locker room. I think there's a balance there. But I think that balance started to shift to where, I mean, a lot of guys do go to Alex, and let's face it, I mean, it's deep tissue massage therapy is really what it is. And it's a lifestyle, and it's about changing the way you eat, and diet, and the Patriots pay their own nutritionist. And so you can always see why that would sort of butt heads with the two. I just think this is Bill setting boundaries, and I don't blame it. It's Bill's locker room. Bill's going to do what Bill wants to do.
The idea that, because I always heard about Greg Popovich, that in film sessions he would destroy Tim Duncan because Tim Duncan could take it, and it would send a message to everybody else, hey, if Pop's ripping Tim Duncan, I mean, he could rip anybody. And it sounds like Bill would do that with Tom, and now
he's
Tom...
He's been doing that since day one.
Which is smart, which is great.
The Texans report is asinine ridiculous. Brady actually gets a chuckle out of when Bill rips into him. If Brady played poorly in that Texans game, that's an accountability thing. You know, when you can't get ripped, that's a guy who can't accept accountability, and Brady's never been at. That's where you sort of shake your head at five things within that piece, but there's some validity to the other stuff. There's some friction there.
So is there friction that he wasn't named Patriot of the Week and that made him sad? I mean, did you buy that?
There's no such thing as Patriot of the Week.
Really? There's nothing?
When Bill gives out his practice squad players of the week, and I can't remember last time Brady was on the practice squad ever. There's no Patriot this week. It's you know, another false thing in that regard.
All right. How about the idea that Robert Kraft told Bill Belichick to trade Jimmy Garoppolo?
Absolutely not, and the Krafts have doubled down on that. And, you know, you're an owner and a businessman as long as that guy has been in this league. They've said it. They've openly stated it, as has Jonathan Kraft. That is absolutely false.
So then what? Because when you look at that trade, and obviously Bill believed Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be the franchise or a franchise quarterback, and he looks good so far in San Francisco.
Did. Yeah.
So
we all did.
So what was the reason for trading him? Simply we can't afford to franchise him and have two quarterbacks making a ton of money?
Yeah, problem is you franchise him. He's at 24. Then you need to clear $14 million in cap space just to be able to tag him with that. Now you're cutting 5 guys. And then the quarterback who may win his 6th ring is going to look at it and say, why is he getting 24? Give me 28. You know, you can't make the guy behind the guy, the highest paid guy in the room, if that makes any sense. You know, you can't have a $5 million running back sitting on the bench when your $600,000 running back's toting a rock. It just, you know, it doesn't work. I think what really ultimately happened here, I think it's as simple as this. Bill always has a plan and plans for the future. And this is the one situation, the lone situation, the one player that actually outlived and outperformed Bill's plan. There's nothing Bill could do about it.
What is a realistic belief on when he's going to slow down? Because he may win the MVP this year. He's 40. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got him at least 2 more years.
That's crazy.
I mean, you don't make that move unless.
Oh, did we lose Scott? Oh, there you are. Go ahead. I think we lost you for a second. Yeah, we got you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I'm in a bad area here. I just think that you don't make that move unless you know Brady's going to be the guy for 2 or 3 years because you need to get the next guy and start grooming him. So, and that's not going to happen for 2 years.
So overall, you don't believe a lot of the article, but you do believe in general there's friction between Brady and Belichick. Is that fair?
There's always been friction.
There's always been.
They're not best friends.
Is it worse today than it was, say, 5 years ago?
I don't know. Every time I see them, they're smiling. I see them a lot together too, talking football. I think when they're at their best is when they're sitting there and they're talking about how we're attacking this opponent, and that's what gets both of them off. The other stuff I think drives them crazy and really pisses them off. This drama. I mean, I don't know the percentage of the article that's right, but it's not 90-10. You know, I got it probably somewhere 60-40.
Mm. The one thing that was tough to believe, just from it out, and I want the whole thing to be true. I mean, you know me, I want this thing to blow up. I want there to be flames. I want everybody to hate each other. The one part that jumped out at me is, I don't know about that, is I look at Robert Kraft as one of the better owners. He's a smart guy. Yeah. Why would he ever order Bill Belichick to trade a player like Jimmy Garoppolo? Like that part, maybe it happened, but maybe I'm giving Bob Kraft too much credit. I just can't imagine he would do something as dumb as that.
Yeah, I know. And knowing Bill like I know Bill, I think the day that happens, I think, Bill, boom, I'm out the door. I'm done.
So that means we're going to find out after the season ends, because if he bolts out the door, then we'll know that part of the story was true.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Bill's got everything he needs here. Robert gives him everything. Robert's hands off. He is not Jerry Jones. It's the reason the Cowboys fell every year. That guy can't keep his hands out of it and let football people do football things.
Right.
But I mean, this brand isn't the brand. I'm not doing an interview with you if you didn't have Tom Brady, too. So, and you shouldn't be rewarded for past. And I think that's part of the problems in this league. A lot of guys get rewarded for past production. The problem with Brady is Brady continues to produce. Yeah. There's no decline. And it screwed Bill's plan up.
Yeah, sir. So
it did. He outlived the plan.
So does he draft, if he's still around, let's assume that this thing doesn't blow up, is he going to draft a quarterback this year then and start this process over?
Yeah, I would think so. Whichever popular one would fall to the second round. He'd take that guy at the top of the second.
Do you believe Tom Brady was ever threatened by Jimmy Garoppolo and all of a sudden when he was traded, like, had a smile on his face and was in a great mood?
No. Go back and look at the games. I think he was 30 or 37 that week, and the team played well out in Denver. They stayed out in Colorado Springs. They're on a hot streak right there. They went 3 for 3 right after that. So he's playing his best football.
Would you be on a scale from 1 being... No, of course, I wouldn't be stunned, to 10 being I'd be stunned out of my mind. Would you be stunned out of your mind if Bill is not coaching the Patriots next year?
Yes.
Okay. So you're confident this will work out and they'll all be together for the next couple of years. And Giant fans should calm down a little bit. They're not getting Belichick.
I mean, if you get him, you're still, 4 years away, you know?
Yeah, but no, I didn't ask that. I didn't ask you to analyze that part. Because, look, he's the best coach in the world. Every team should want Bill Belichick. Everybody should.
I've been around this game too long, too, that nothing would really surprise me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not putting any, I'm not giving this story any more credence, but, I mean, shoot, we were in the Super Bowl in '97 when Bill Parcells, they'd get on our plane and come back home. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nothing would surprise me anymore.
Well,
I changed my answer.
How about this surprise? Let me throw it up a notch, because right now we all assume, Bill loves the Giants. He talks glowingly about the Giants. He'd be the Giant coach. If he was really ticked off at Kraft and ticked off at Brady, you know where he should go, right? You know where he should really go to stick it to them.
Jets.
To the Jetsies.
Yeah.
Would that surprise you? Would that stun you?
Oh, yeah. Bill, I don't think Bill could even say the name Jets. It's the team for the other team from New York.
God, he hates us so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad, man.
I love how he hangs up the thermometers just to mess with the Jets like they're going to be intimidated.
That's the only team he did it with. Like, really? Like, they're from New York. They don't know it's cold.
And here's the other thing. They stink, and the coach isn't very good. They didn't need to put thermometers up. You could have won that game blindfolded. There's nothing to worry about.
They knew it.
Unbelievable. Let me ask you about this team a little bit, actually. They're not the best Patriot team you've seen because you've had some dynasties down there, or some dominant teams, some great teams. Where do you look at the biggest flaw of this team that could derail their season in getting to another Super Bowl?
A defense that could limit their possessions in the first half to where they can't play out front. That's where this team gets in trouble. When you got about 10, 13 points at the half, if you get 20 at the half, and they're comfortable playing a certain style of defense out in front. The defense on paper is not as good as defense pass. So, if you can limit possessions with Brady in the first half, I think you got a shot at him.
Who's the team with the best shot? Kansas City?
No, Pittsburgh.
You still think, even though you guys always beat them, you always beat the Steelers?
They have just such high-end talent and the quarterback. Alex Smith and Andy Reid will find a way to mismanage the end of that game from a clock perspective.
You know what? That's a fair point. What about Jacksonville? Right. You take them seriously?
No.
You give them a shot in Pittsburgh?
They're getting there.
Yeah, no. Well, the quarterback's a concern, but man, their defense is good. They can get to the quarterback. They can run the football. Their secondary's awesome. They got a lot of talent.
Yeah, they can run the football. That's one thing, and they got big corners. So
yeah. So do you expect to be in Minneapolis for the Super Bowl again?
Yes.
Who do you think you'll be playing?
I tell you what, the team that scares me is Carolina because I think they match up real well against them. They're physical.
Yeah, guys, they beat you in the regular season. I remember that game in Foxborough.
We're radio people. We root for the story. We're rooting for Breeze versus Brady. That's number one.
That would be something. Well, how about the idea of Minnesota only because now you got to play basically a road game in the Super Bowl? How about that storyline? That appealing at all?
I'm losing you there.
You're losing me, or are you just mocking?
Yeah, you got me?
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, is the Minnesota Viking thing appealing, having to basically play a road game in the Super Bowl? Is that appealing to you?
Yeah, but I mean, they take tickets now. The NFL's got that new ticket rule. It's a third. It's marketing. I think Minnesota playing at home will get caught up in reading everything in the first home team. They would mishandle that week.
Here's my last question. When, as a Jet fan, and for the Dolphin fans and the Bill fans, will this freaking thing end? When will we start a season and Belichick and Brady won't be there? What year am I waiting for?
4 years down the road, bud. Hopefully you and I are still doing radio.
Yeah, I know, right? Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. I appreciate you coming on, man. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Scott Zolack. He does radio up in Boston. I didn't ask him about the Paul Pierce, Isaiah Thomas thing. Have you heard about that stupid story? I got to get to that. Talk about a dumb, ego-filled, narcissistic. I can't even say the word.
Narcissist.
Narcissist. Lex Luger. Yeah, thank you. That's what that story is between Isaiah and Paul Pierce. I'll get to that later, but when we come back, we'll get to your calls, 877-337-6666.